Hello and welcome to the video. So I've just finished a live interview with Lee Downing Keat. Lee is a YouTuber who specialises in calisthenics as well as hybrid calisthenics. He also does lots of informative educational videos as well as product reviews and even some stuff about barefoot shoes. So it's safe to say we have quite a few things in common. Lee got in touch with me recently and said it would be cool to do a collab, and we thought it might actually be beneficial to share our different opinions and thoughts on all things health and fitness. So in the interview we covered a heap of topics, including our training, our nutrition, our lifestyle in general, and kind of what keeps us motivated and how to stay disciplined with what we do. The interview ended up being an hour and 15, so I'll do my best to go through the video again and timestamp as many sections as I can, so you can kind of just look in the details below and skip to a section that you're more interested in, or you can just sit back with some popcorn and watch the whole thing. Entirely up to you. I will also link Lee's channel in the description box below, so make sure to go and check him out. This guy has got a wealth of knowledge in all areas health and fitness. Anyway, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you think of this type of video. If you want to see this kind of stuff again, drop it a like because you're a nice guy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, cool, easy.
Awesome. So today, me and Pete are going to be doing a chat about calisthenics, fitness, health and fitness in general. And we're going to sort of use this as an opportunity to sort of share our knowledge, share our experiences, and just talk about it, and hopefully give you guys some sort of information to help you guys when it comes to health and fitness. And obviously me and Pete have both done fairly similar content. We've both done some product reviews. We've done stuff on minimalist stuff, footwear. We've done stuff with calisthenics. So we thought it might be a good way of collabing, sharing information, and sort of helping our communities grow. So before we go any further, I just thought it would be a good idea for anyone that doesn't know Pete, if you want to give sort of an introduction of who you are, what sort of content you have, what sort of content is to come. And as always, we will be leaving links to each other's channels down below, comment section, description. So make sure you go and check out Pete's channel and so forth. But if you want to give a description of who you are, what you do, Pete, that'd be great.
Yeah, my name's Pete. I'm a plant-based personal trainer. I'm fairly new to calisthenics. I did weight training for a few years, then kind of made the conversion to calisthenics for a couple of years, and now I've kind of like hybrided them, kind of like you do as well, Lee.
Yeah.
And on my channel, I haven't really niched anything at the moment because I kind of love so many things. I find it difficult just to focus. Like I love calisthenics, so I do talk about calisthenics, but I also talk about plant-based lifestyle, barefoot shoes, and just do product reviews and fitness stuff. I know it's probably better to niche down and have a specific thing, but I find it difficult because I enjoy so many different things. So my channel is pretty much just all health and fitness related stuff. And I like to do food challenges occasionally as well, because I like to watch. I like to watch food challenges. I don't know why. It's like a weird thing I enjoy doing, like big mixed food. So I've tried a couple of them as well, and they're a lot harder than they look. That's pretty much it for me.
Oh, I guess with a lot of those things that you like doing, they could easily be put under the umbrella of fitness, though. So I guess, like, especially if every now and again, like minimalist sort of footwear can easily go into like, you know, fitness in general, which is, I've done a few things on them, but not as much of you on there. So I guess for me, my channel is predominantly calisthenics, but there is fitness in general as a whole, and there is some weight training because my background is predominantly weight training and strength training, but I've been doing sort of training since I was 13 or 14, and obviously I'm about 31 now, so it's a lot of experience from strength training to powerlifting to calisthenics to strongman training. I think you've said as well you're also a personal trainer. So a personal trainer as well, so it's good to have like that sort of, I guess people like to know that the person that they're listening to has some sort of credibility in what they're doing in some form of training or education. So we've both got that, so that's quite cool. And then I'd say my focus is, a lot of it is on performance based. So I don't always promote just build muscle for the sake of building muscle, but I like to point people towards, if you focus on performance and strength, the muscle will come, but you've also got something else you can sort of drive for and pursue, which I think is definitely quite handy. But I would say mine predominantly is strength training, is sort of my sort of go-to. But I thought we could talk about calisthenics. You talked about calisthenics, so you've only just sort of recently got into it or dabbled with it. So what got you into calisthenics? Okay,
so it's my journey of calisthenics is kind of like most people, I think. Like I only started really getting into the gym like 6 years ago, and I always been active, but I always did like snowboarding, downhill biking, like super sporty outdoors, but never really lifted weights. And then I lived with a bodybuilder, and he kind of got me into it. But I just assumed calisthenics was you were unable to build muscle. It's like pointless, you know, it's
Yeah.
good if you just want to do push-ups. But yeah, I just strictly did weights for that reason, just to build muscle and get strong. I was a really skinny dude. So I was like 120 pounds when I started going to the gym. So I bulked up to like 100 and I'm 170 now. So I bulked
How tall are you?
5'10".
5'10", 5'10". Yeah, also so 120. Well, that's light, isn't it?
I was
That's
super
mad.
light.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
used to just
yeah,
like snowboard and bike and
yeah,
pie a
yeah,
lot and just not think of
yeah,
it
yeah.
and be naturally just super slender. So yeah, I got into weightlifting to put like muscle on. And then when I made the conversion, so then we went to Bali and lockdown happened. So it's like a year and a half ago. And I joined this gym called Nirvana Strength Training, and it's like a calisthenics gym.
Yeah.
And that's really I practiced there for like 7 months, and I actually got stronger. My physique was looking even better than normal. I literally all we did was just like practice, and it wasn't even like train calisthenics. We train the movements like ring muscle up training, but you're not even doing the muscle ups. You're just doing like parts of the movements just
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And I felt better than I've ever felt before, and I got stronger, and I was feeling good. And I was like, actually, calisthenics is just as good as weight training. It's
Yeah.
just you have to understand it, and you really have to be, and you have to know the progressions, which is a lot
Yeah,
more
very, very important for
than
that.
weight
Yeah,
training. But I now think, and I teach clients that building the foundations of calisthenics is probably the thing you'd want to do first before doing weight training.
Mhm.
Really get those movements in solid, safe on your joints, and yeah, just overall body weight strength.
I definitely agree with that. With you'll see some people in the gym, and no fault to them, but they'll be on the bench press and they've got like 5 kg on the side of each bar, and they're doing bench press. I'm thinking, if you're not so much that weak that you have to use that amount of weight, you'd be so much better building a foundation using push-ups and getting used to your body and building up the strength and the movement. And the problem with I find with the bench press is it's a lot harder on the shoulders, and there's no core activated really. You'd be better going into push-ups, building up a foundation of using your body into dips and so forth, where, like you said, it's really good, beneficial to use calisthenics to build up that foundation of fitness and strength, especially for your joints and that, because they take a lot longer to grow and to adapt. So I think calisthenics is good for that. Did you find, while doing calisthenics, any cons or mistakes that you made, or cons that you could potentially see people running into when doing calisthenics?
The thing I found difficult with calisthenics and why I started using weights again is kind of hard to get that like pump feeling for me. Like the same. I know you can do like weighted pull-ups, and it's difficult. I when I started doing weights again a couple months ago, I do really enjoy lifting weights. There's something about it, but combining them too. But yeah, that's the one thing with calisthenics. It is really difficult, and you can plateau, or it's so hard to progress. Like to go from like 10 pull-ups to 11 pull-ups is like actually a massive milestone for like, it's not something you can do, but with weightlifting you can kind of just chuck on your 2.5s and pump out a new reps.
Yeah, the progressional gaps are a lot easier to
You
to
have to
manage,
have a
aren't they?
lot of patience and really drill your technique, yeah, to make progression with calisthenics, which I think why it's a much harder discipline, to be honest, to progress at it. And the people who get really advanced have like practiced and patient, like to do the planche and the front lever and stuff like that's incredible. So I think that's the one downside, but there's so many more positives to it, in
Mm,
my opinion, especially injuries as well. I feel like I used
yeah,
to get injured a lot when I used to lift weights. And now I'm more like body aware, more like conscious of my
yeah.
movements.
I'd say the biggest, I would say, weakness to calisthenics is the lack of like a decent lower back movement. I know you have hyperextensions, but it's very easy to and you. I guess the good thing about calisthenics is it's very, very low equipment. Like other than a pull-up bar or someone do pull-ups, you pretty much don't need any equipment. But if to use a Roman chair or something to do hyperextensions on, or if you do it from the floor, range of motion isn't a lot, and it's very easy to rep out. So I feel like you want to add some form of hip hinge, lower back movement, whether it's a deadlift, whether it's a kettlebell. I think it's really beneficial for people. And what was the other con that I thought of?
It's probably your leg training as well. You can't
It's probably,
really.
yeah, yeah. Leg training does limit how far you can go. I think because I was talking to someone about it before. They were asking my advice on when it came to leg training. I thought you can move into pistols if you've got the ankle mobility and that, and yeah, you could possibly maybe use weight and go into making the leg training harder, but still you're then starting to use weights, or if you're going to weight calisthenics. I'd say that's the only real issues that you may come across. So I do think it's beneficial people doing calisthenics and weights, but I do find people tend to be very, and I don't know if you ever saw it, but when me and Matt from the Red Delta Project did a live stream, we talked about how it's very easy for people to be very dogmatic in their style of training. And I've done lots of different forms of training, different sort of methodologies and things like this. But there are a lot of people that are very like calisthenics only, and
Yeah, it's like a cult almost.
it kind of is something. And when I used to talk about like weighted calisthenics, people would be actually a little bit like against weighted calisthenics. It was literally just calisthenics, progressive calisthenics, and nothing more. And I feel like if you don't have access to weights or equipment, or you don't go to a gym, you can't afford one, fine, work with what you've got. Calisthenics can build muscle, can get you strong, you can build a really great physique. But if you do have access to other equipment, experiment. And like you now, like, or you all sort of have, you enjoy lifting weights. Where if you limited yourself to only calisthenics or only weights, you're missing out on other great forms of training, which I think's really beneficial. So you would say the best sort of mix is combining calisthenics and weight training, then that would be your...
At this current moment in time, but I can't say that will change in the future because I'm I'm always changing. But yeah, I really enjoy. I'm currently on like a long bulk, so I think doing calisthenics while you're bulking is a good way to like maintain your strength at least. And I always start with a compound calisthenics movement, then I'll do weight training, and then I'll normally finish with like a hypertrophy calisthenics movement at the end. So it's like a starter and a finisher, and then I do like some weight stuff in the middle.
So do you, when it comes to your training, do you, because I know for me, I kind of inadvertently prioritize calisthenics over weights. Do you have a preference on which one you prefer, or which one you focus more on, and the other one is sort of complementary to it?
No, no.
No, you literally
I'm
don't
just
mind
kind
which
of
one.
playing it around, I guess.
Yeah,
The calisthenics compound movements are the starting, like the starting move. So it'll be like a handstand push up or a weighted pull up. So I guess that's getting my main priority because the first exercise gets your most of your energy, doesn't it? But
mhm.
then I'll do weights, and lifting weights after doing calisthenics seems so easy to me. Like doing some bench press like seems so easy compared to doing like heavy handstand push ups and
Yeah, yeah,
stuff like that. So it's almost like relaxing to do it afterwards, and you get
yeah,
the pump on, and then yeah, that's what I'm enjoying at the moment. But
yeah.
see how far I can push myself with this.
The other thing, actually, you saying that kind of reminded me of like just one other, I guess, con to calisthenics, and this is coming from someone that's, and you said about how you come away or you do a bit of calisthenics and weights. Like I used to go through phases where I'd be really into, say, I was really into powerlifting at one stage. Like I wanted to compete in powerlifting, and I probably did like full on weightlifting. I'd do pull ups and stuff like that in between, but I was really into weightlifting for a couple of years. And then eventually I just thought, right, I just want a break from the gym, a break from weights, and just quit the gym, go home. I've got a pull up bar and just do pull ups. And it's amazing on your joints. You'll be surprised how like you feel better from not doing weight training. But when I went back to the gym about a year later, I thought, oh, I'll join a gym, carried on doing my calisthenics. And I was there and I thought, oh, I'll give the deadlift a go, I'll give the trap bar a go. And it felt really, really heavy. And I know like there's a learning curve, and a lot of the strength that you'll have is the efficiency within form and ingraining it and getting good. But for someone that was really, really good at deadlifting, to find 60, 80 kilos on the bar heavy was just like, I do not like this feeling. And even though you could, and at this time I was still doing weighted calisthenics. I had the Kenzu vest, I was doing weighted pull-ups, weighted handstand push-ups, weighted dips. So I was physically strong, but when it came to lifting an external load, I was weak. And I didn't like that feeling. And I feel that we are, in the way that we live or what we're doing, we're always going to be lifting things up, and depending on what your job is, whether you could be a laborer, whether you're helping a friend out because they're moving house, like you're going to be lifting stuff up. I think adding in some form of training that allows you to lift things, I think, is really beneficial. And obviously calisthenics in a way lacks that if you did want to lift something on an external level, you're not prepared for it. And I feel there's a different form of training to hanging from a bar and holding your weight and doing a pull-up to literally lifting something heavy off the floor. It's a different stress on the body that I feel like is very beneficial to add in.
Yeah.
I'd always recommend stuff like kettlebells, deadlifts, even sandbag training. I don't know if you've ever done sandbag training.
No.
Really, really good.
That
It's
way you
good
just
fun
throw a
as well.
sandbag over you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
even something as simple as just picking it up and walking with it, like it's really good cardio. But lifting up something heavy and hugging onto it, it's a completely different sensation because it's odd. It's really uneven, but that sort of training, like you'll be surprised how much you're having to contract your chest. You know, the lifting it up from the floor, the back strength. It's just you can't. I don't know. You can't replicate it, but it transfers over well to just everyday life, but other forms of training, which I think's really good. So, like, if you had someone that was, say, very, very new to the gym and they're thinking about getting into calisthenics, what sort of, if you had to give like 5 tips or 5 bits of advice for someone new to calisthenics, what sort of advice would you give them?
Same to anyone, I guess. I think number one's got to be like write down what your goal is, what you hope to achieve. Because I think the biggest failing factor for most people is like consistency, and like just
Hmm.
consistency wins over everything, doesn't it? If, like, you want to
Yeah.
get fitter, what you do consistently is gonna, and keeping people persistent. So I always tell people to write down their goal. Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to do calisthenics? So that'd be my first point. And then just start on working on like the main compound movements, get them proficient in the main compound movements. I know pull-ups, if they can't do it, um, make a progression they can do, and just really focus on getting those primary movements like down and locked in. So that's 2. And then 3, just take it slow and steady as well. I think a lot of people just like go hell for leather at like they don't do any exercise and then they kill themselves for 6 weeks and then just end up quitting and sacking it all off. Like real
Yeah.
slow and steady, just slow and steady wins the pace. Like think of your exercise journey as the rest of your life. That's kind of
Mhm.
how I plan mine out now. So it's like I'm going to bulk for a year and then I'm possibly going to do CrossFit for it. Like I look at like year increments because that's how like life is. And I think people, because we're sold on Instagram, 6-pack in 6 weeks and all this kind of short like magic pill solution, but it's not really. It's just your life, isn't it? Like if you do something for 6 weeks then return to what you're doing before, you're going to end up back to where you were before. So you kind of have to get that mindset in, this is your life now.
Yeah.
So it has to be slow and steady. Then that's 3. um 4 and 5, I think, say, when you start working out as well, your nutrition really you need to look at your nutrition because it's going to impact how you recover, how you're affected, how your workouts are, how you feel, and then second, and like the most importantly after that, your sleep, because that also impacts your recovery, and that's something I always go on about my channel, how important sleep is, because I know how I never used to care about sleep. I used to stay up so late and just survive on coffee, and simply just like changing your sleeping habits can impact your like how good you feel majorly, and that's something that I've only realized the past year, which is kind of crazy too. So yeah, that'd be my top 5. I think I
That
did
was 4. I think that was 4.
that 4.
Yeah. You can finish on that if you want. It was just a generic.
You said 5, I'm going 5.
A lot of the videos I do are top 5 for some
Number
reason.
5, enjoy it as well. People feel like
Yeah. No,
it has
definitely
to
that.
be suffering as well, like on Instagram, got to grind every day and all that stuff. I don't believe that at all. Like it can be fun. Like workouts don't even have to be that hard. You just have to do a little bit extra each time. So yeah, just enjoy it. You don't have to kill yourself.
I think that's a good point. I get a lot of people that will ask me my advice on certain exercises, and they'll be like, and I've done. I think all of us have. Well, I know I have anyway. I've done videos on the best exercises for this, the best exercises for that. But I always put a sort of an asterisk to it where it's very like, but if you don't like it, don't do it. Like I said, I'll say one of the best, strength builders or lower back builders is the deadlift. If you don't like the deadlift, don't do it. One of my favorite exercises is the pull up. If you don't like doing pull ups, even though I think it's one of the best for building up your back, if you don't like it, don't do it. If you prefer doing the row, do the row. If you don't like dips, but you love push ups, do push ups. At the end of the day, fitness is obviously about just being healthy, prolonging your life, quality of life, but it's something that you should also enjoy as well. Because I think fitness has I love to do fitness. I don't just do it because I want to be healthy and all of these different things. Like I enjoy fitness. Like I like the way it makes me feel. I like something that I can pursue for that day in that particular hour slot, half an hour that I can push myself and try and do better. So don't spend that time doing something you hate. Don't do a workout program because someone's told you it's the best program for building muscle if you dread doing it each time, or you're like, I can't do this exercise, I don't like it, but I have to do it because someone told me it's the best exercise or it's in this program. Like, swap out for whatever you're doing. Your point 3, you said, um about like with Instagram and looking a certain way, and that people push you to doing certain things like that. This is why I think it's really important. I don't know if you ever watch a guy called James Smith on Instagram.
I do know of him actually, but I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
actually watched. He has that book, doesn't he? How Not to Be a Life Coach or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge. I mean, he's a bit of a lad for me, and some of the stuff he talks about, like, it doesn't always interest me. And I know he's not a big fan on a lot of the vegan stuff. But one thing I do definitely agree with him is he definitely highlights how Instagram, mainly Instagram, but a lot of fitness in general is just about looks. And he's actually put out that he knows a lot of bodybuilders. I mean, he experimented with taking steroids and things like that in the past, and he said like it's ruined bodybuilding for him, and the training just to look a certain way can be really, really hard on people, especially for their mental health, body image issues. And he said that it takes a lot longer for you to start seeing changes. And you said people going in and pushing really, really hard to 6 weeks out burn themselves out. It's because a lot of time you may not see what you're looking for after 6 weeks, and if you don't see it straight away, what's the point, and you give up. Where I think focusing on performance, and I know he's talked about this as well, is another way of driving motivation and keeping people on to keep that consistency, which, like you said, point one is the most important thing. You can have the best program, you can work out solidly, have a really great pull-up, deadlift, whatever it is. If you're not consistent with your program, being progressive, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's why I like people focusing on performance, because if you focus on performance, you're progressive, you're eating well, you're, like you said, you're sleeping, which is a big part of your recovery. If you're doing that, building muscle will be a byproduct. And one example I like to use is if you look at CrossFitters. I mean, CrossFitters look like some of the most jacked people on the planet, whether it's natural or not, whatever. But I don't think a lot of them train that way to look like that, do they? It's a byproduct of the fact that they work out like a crazy amount. But I've got a friend he's really into CrossFit. He'll train every day, but he's not doing anything mad like they are, where they're doing 2 or 3 sessions every day, 6 days, 7 days a week. But he's in amazing shape. He's strong, he's fit. He can pretty much do a lot of different, different forms of training, from gymnastics to weightlifting to Olympic lifting to calisthenics. All of these sort of stuff he's very, very good at. But the way he looks is a byproduct, which I think that's a nice thing of focusing on performance. Is it's very easy to feel, looking at yourself, feeling like, oh, I'm not big enough, or my muscles aren't big enough, or why don't I look like that person yet? Where if it's like, if you focus on the performance and you can see you've got another metric to follow that can give you motivation, you can see like, I am getting stronger. Like I can now do 5 pull-ups instead. Last week I can only do 2. Or it's like when people give advice on people saying, don't just use the scales as a way of indicating whether you're losing weight or whatever, because it doesn't tell you the whole story. So just by how big you are, how you look, doesn't tell the full story of how well you are training. And it shouldn't be the only factor that you follow when finding that internal motivation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. 100%.
But I would say, like, if I was to give advice on people on calisthenics, it'd be focus on the key exercise. Ideally, I would say focus on a minimalist program. So I would say full body, 2, 3, 4 times a week if you can manage your recovery, and repeat the same exercises over and over again and learn them. Whether it's a push-pull leg. So if you can't do pull-ups, do rows. If you can't do dips, do push-ups. If you can't do pistol squats or anything harder, just a bodyweight squat or a lunge is fine. And just repeat and get really effective with those movements, and then be progressive with them. If you're coming from a bodybuilding sort of style and you're used to doing more exercises and more volume, maybe do a vertical push and pull, so a pull up in a row, a handstand if you can do them, or a pike if you're not strong enough, and a push up maybe, or a dip, and then a bridge and a squat, and then you're virtually hitting your whole entire body, kind of like convict conditioning. I don't know if you've read convict conditioning or anything. It's kind of like a calisthenics program where a guy called Paul Wade, whether it's true or not, it was kind of like a style of training that was developed in prison, but it was basically just using your body to get as strong as you possibly can. And I mean, I did it for a little bit, like with the base level. I read the book; it's an interesting book, but like some of them was like crazy, like 1-arm handstand push-ups. I'm just thinking, yeah, no. But I'm not a big fan of 1-arm push-ups anyway. But like, it was great, because a lot of people that you said before that, they don't know how to create progression when it comes to calisthenics. it's very like, I'll just do more reps. But this book gave you a step from, you know, you can't even do a proper inverted row all the way up to being able to do like, I don't know if it was a one arm pull up that had progressions all the way there, reps and sets and so forth. I think there's like 10, 15, maybe 20 progressions on each of these 6 core exercises. It's a good book. I don't know how, I think I downloaded it or something, but that's quite good. So yeah, like progressive, focus on like simple exercise, focus on progressive overload. I think that's often people don't realize that. I think when they get to calisthenics, like you said about weights, is it's very, very easy just to add 2.5 each side. And you know, each set, each workout, each week, just add weight. I think with calisthenics, people get confused with like, what do I do? Like, do I just add more reps and just keep doing more reps, or just do more sets? So I think like learn about progressive overload is a good thing. I think I've done a video on 5 ways to create progressive overload, because there's lots of different ways in which you could do it. And manage your recovery, I think, is a key thing. You mentioned people go all hell loose 6 weeks in, burnout. Is learn your body and how to manage recovery, because training and recovery go hand in hand. If you train too much, you're not getting enough recovery, you won't grow, you'll probably regress. If you're not training enough to sort of recovery, your progression will be quite slow. So some people can train day on, day off. Some people need 2 or 3 days rest. So just manage that. I don't know how many that was, but I guess that was sort of like add on to what sort of what you said. So you've done, I noticed you did a video on minimalist training.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on minimalist training? Because I know a lot of people think you shouldn't do it. It's not good. It's not enough volume, not enough exercises. I've done videos on minimalist training, and that's a sort of common thing that I hear, because I think
what exactly do you mean by minimalist training here? It might be I meant my like minimalist equipment. I might be
equipment. Okay, like minimalist training for me would be minimal exercises.
Okay.
So you can go like, I don't know if you do minimalist training like with minimalist exercises, or yours is just what training I do with minimalist
if
equipment.
you explain it, maybe I do it, but I've never called it that. What?
So for me, like minimalist training would be, you know, I would come in and do a workout, and a common one that I'll do is I'll do 3 exercises in a workout, and that's it. Some people will do more. I might do 4, might do 5, but I know the sort of status quo when it comes to fitness is it'll be like a chest workout, and they have to do 4 or 5 different chest exercises. Where for me, I'd be like, I might do a push up and a dip max. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that. Do you have any opinions on sort of minimalist training? Or
I do quite minimalist training too, because I've done the bodybuilding. You do like 27 exercises for chest. I think it's go for like 4 really good sets on chest is better than like 12 half good sets. And I think you can only, if you really go for it, you can only do. So yeah, I do the similar thing. I do like four movements probably on the pull day, on a push day, like 4 compounds pretty much. I don't really do any like accessory work usually, unless I'm really good, or I just fancy it. But usually, my training is just compound heavy, 2 to 3 minutes rest at least in between sets. And
because I know a lot of, because like I said, like it feels, I know that when I've spent time in the gym and you talk to people, the status quo for dudes anyway is I'm doing a body part split. Like they may have never have trained in their life, but they're coming in and they're doing a body part split, and they'll be doing like flat bench, incline bench, decline bench. Then they'll do 3 versions of chest flies, and then they'll go some dumbbell flies, and then they'll want to do triceps, and it'll be 4 or 5 different versions of the tricep extension. And it's just like, for me, it's just way overkill. And kind of like what you said, it's like you're not going to be able to do that if you're pushing hard enough and doing enough. You physically aren't going to be able to do that many sets, and you're better just doing what I would say is, you know, focus on the key compounds. Because if you want to build your arms, for instance, people will do like, I don't know if you do bicep curls or tricep extensions as a whole.
Don't do any isolation stuff at all. Maybe chin-up holds I'd probably do for my biceps, maybe.
But I mean, in my opinion, chin-ups, anything like that is the best thing you can do for your biceps. And I know a lot will be like, well, what bicep curls or body weight bicep curls and tricep extension. I think, well, if you're doing handstand push-ups, your dips or push-ups, rows, pull-ups, your arms are getting worked doing that. So I'm very like, focus on what's important, get rid of sort of like the fluff and puff, focus on what's key. As long as you're progressive, like if you're doing chin-ups, for instance, if you're working up and you're getting strong and you're getting into weighted chin-ups and you're really loading the weight on a weighted chin-up, you're going to have big arms, or at least strong arms. So I would say that sort of thing with sort of minimalist training is, people think more is always better. But more exercises, I think, especially if you're a beginner, is you've got more exercises to learn, where that's part of like the strength, and learning fitness is learning the movement. Like the pull-up, for instance, is a hard exercise in general. There's not a lot of people that can do pull-ups, but there's a lot that goes into the pull-up that it's very easy to get it wrong. And to try and learn that while trying to learn the row, while trying to learn all of these different back exercises, just dilutes your ability to get efficient within something. So you said about like minimalist equipment. What sort of equipment would you say is like your go-to equipment?
Number one piece of equipment, 'cause last summer, me and my girlfriend lived in our car for like 3 months, and all I had, we didn't like go to gyms or anything, is a pair of gymnastic rings. And I think if you've got a pair of gymnastic rings, you can do a full body workout easy.
Yeah, no,
And that's what
definitely.
all I did for a few months. Absolutely best piece of kit. And door pull up bar is probably like number one. But yeah, if you can do handstand push-ups, pike push-ups, all your kind of squat variations, yeah, rings are pretty much all you need.
Yeah,
So
I think they're one of the best, I think, by far. Obviously, the only issue is finding somewhere to hang them.
that's
But
it, yeah.
other than that, but obviously, because I know you've only got the pull-up mate, the first one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I thought I
literally just
saw.
hang my rings off them now.
Yeah, precisely. I would say if you've got one of them, you can just hang a set of rings off them. And you're sorted. The only issue I found with them is if you wanted to do an inverted row, unless you're directly on it, the thing will slightly tip. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's like you got a pull-up mate and you've got a set of rings. You're set for life, really, because that's pretty much. I mean, I've got a lot of equipment
Mine's
because I
growing now as well.
it's one of those like sad things. I think if you're into fitness, you know you're into fitness because you get excited when you see a new piece of equipment. And I like to do like product reviews and things like that. But I've got like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 different versions of gymnastic rings. I've got like
Oh, no.
a suspension trainer. I really got into these like finger holds for doing pull-ups, because I was thinking of getting into bouldering, and I've got like
I've
these things
been on
called
those
rock.
before, they're killer.
Oh god, like I've got these rock rings, and I've got it's like dynamic door pull-up bar, these little things that hang up on the door, and you attach these to them, and basically they hang on. Instead of it being like, I don't know if you saw it, but there's like these green grips that I've got that go onto the door frame, and they're meant to stop your door frame from getting damaged when doing pull-ups. But they fit on more door frames because they actually just sort of like hook on to the ledge.
Oh,
And you
no.
can change the handles and put these on, and obviously then you can do finger holds in different grips when trying to do pull-ups. So I've been trying to get into that, but I saw that and I thought I want them. And then I've just got some more weights and stuff, and I've got an air bike, and I'm waiting for like a ski erg thing that
Oh,
I've
you
got coming.
got
So I've got like I'm lucky. I've got like a little garage I've turned into a gym, but it's like there's like only so much space you can have. But I'm really into my sort of like gym equipment. I went back to my old gym that I was in before, and I just saw all their old kit, and I was like, wouldn't mind coming back for a session just to sort of like try all the new stuff. Like they got like these awesome, because I miss doing pull-ups with straight legs.
Yeah.
So I don't use my pull-up mate at the minute because it's my ceiling's too low, so
Oh,
I can only like hang stuff off them to use them. So I've got this other height adjustable pull-up bar, but I have to do pull-ups with bent legs, and I miss doing pull-ups where you can, even if you don't have them in front, just have sort of like really straight legs and just hang naturally. Does make a difference to your pull-ups, I think,
oh,
because it
100%.
just makes it feel better. And I miss doing that. And I saw these lined up rigs where it's like a CrossFit section. I thought, oh god, it'd be nice to jump up there and just do some pull-ups. And I always find you have a better workout if you just go somewhere new. Sometimes it's just like it's a sort of like a new toy. So other thing I wanted to talk about with you is obviously you're vegan, plant-based. How long have you been vegan, plant-based for, and why?
About 5 years now.
5 years. Oh, cool.
And my girlfriend was, I won't say it's her fault, but we've been together for like 7 years, and she was always vegetarian, but she never actually pushed anything on me. I used to eat chicken or whatever. I wasn't even into like fitness that much then. I just enjoyed eating meat or thought I loved it. And then we were traveling to Thailand, and I had some like dodgy chicken and I felt sick. And she was like, oh, she didn't even say it was vegan. She's like, oh, I'm going to try and not eat any dairy because it's upsetting her stomach.
Hmm.
And I said, oh, I'm not going to eat any meat while we're in Thailand. And then I was like, oh, I won't eat dairy as well if you're not eating dairy. So basically, we were both vegan, but I didn't even know what vegan was then, even though it's 5 years ago. And we did it for like a week. Then we watched some documentaries, Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives, all the other ones there are about the slaughterhouses and stuff like that. And yeah, I've just been vegan ever since. But
So would you say like the main driver was ethical or health wise?
it started off for the animals 100%, and then you kind of learn out about global warming and the other impact on the earth, and then yeah, health reasons as well. But I think health's like third. I'd say it's more about like the animals and the environment for me. I mean, I kind of done it for so long now that it just feels normal. Like I don't miss meat or anything.
No, I think then like because I think mine will be, and I remember my partner said like, how did I do it then? Mine will be like 5 years this November, December time. So I did it just before Christmas, and because obviously she's like, oh, Christmas food like the best. But for mine, it started off as like a because I didn't know what vegan was. I think I worked somewhere where my manager's daughter was vegan and she was vegetarian, and I was like, she was telling me why she was vegetarian. I was like, oh bugger it, I'll give it a go. Like I was really into my training, and I was, like I said, I was training because I wanted to compete in powerlifting. So I was literally just doing squats, deadlift, bench, and I was eating everything. Like I'm only 5'11", and I was 15 and a half stone, nearly 16 stone.
Whoa!
So
Nice.
I was eating like everything, and I mean, I would be, especially if I went to a supermarket, if they had like reduced meat, it'd be like a pack of 4 or 5 pork chops. I'd be like, yeah, I'll eat all of them in one go. I've got a massive appetite. I'd eat all of them in one go. A pack of tortellini because I was trying to get big and strong because I was training for 2 or 3 hours at a time. Told me why she was doing it. I thought, I'll give it a go because the amount of money I'm spending on meat, like even if I just do it for a while, I'll save a bit of money. So did it for a bit. It was easy. Didn't miss meat at all. I didn't realize how much I missed, but I was drinking lots of milk, thinking I needed to make up for the protein, which just gave me like digestive issues. And I thought, and I get people saying, why don't you try vegan? I was like, well, what is it? So I looked it up. I found Vegan Gains. I saw a couple of his videos anyway because he was trashing on people like Mike
I think he's
O'Hearn.
just been cancelled, hasn't he?
Is he?
I think so, because he did a video on John Meadows. I don't watch him, but there's people saying
He can be very, very toxic. I mean, I used to like watching him in the old days where it was like Natty or Not, where you'd like call out these people that are obviously on gear, but they're like, oh, Natty. And I'm thinking like, I have no respect for those people because they're lying to people. They're taking people's money. If people want to take it, fine, but don't make out the body that you've created or the strength that you have is just a combination of you working hard, because it makes people think like, I'm not working hard, that's why I don't look like them. Creates body image issues where it's like, you've only got that way because you're taking drugs. So he was calling out people like that, and I thought, great, awesome. So I was watching his stuff and I thought, all right, I'll watch more of his stuff. And then I started looking up some of the documentaries on it, but it was predominantly health-based when I did it. So I got into nutritionfacts.org. So what's he called? What's the Dr. Gregor? Started watching a lot of his videos on nutritionfacts.org. Thought it was interesting because like when I did my PT course, I found anatomy and physiology fascinating. Like I've done like videos where I've talked about rest times, energy systems, different types of hypertrophy, from myofibrillar hypertrophy to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, going into the science of it, because I love all that stuff. Like when I did my course, I was like amazed of like what the body actually does when it was amazing. So like learning stuff on nutritionfacts.org I thought was really, really good. There's a lot of great videos on there where a lot of people think you've got to mix proteins if you're on plant-based, and he did a video on source. And then he said like it's a myth, the protein combining myth's a myth, and all these different stuff. And I was fascinated, but researching all that, I bought his book How Not to Die, read that, thought it was awesome. Then I started watching Forks Over Knives, and there was another one that was like it, and I was just like, all right, bugger it, I've got this information now saying it's best for my health, let's give it a go. So did it for a few months, and then joined a few vegan groups. Then you get people saying, "I'll watch this, watch that," and one of the worst things I've ever watched is Earthlings.
Yeah, I watched all of those in like a week, and that's like semi-vegan.
Yeah, so like I said, it initially turned out for my health because for me, my health is the most important thing. Like health is wealth. Like, it doesn't matter how much money, how successful you are. If you're ill, you're poorly, and you haven't got good health, especially with what's going on at the minute with, you know, this pandemic and that, and it really brings home how important health really is. That's always been my main driver. And then I watched Earthlings, and I was like, oh God, that's horrible. And then it was like, then it became like, for the animals, I was like, I'm not being a part of that, brutal. And then I watched Earthly and Eggs English version, I think Land of Hope and Glory.
I've seen that one.
It's a UK based one, because I think when you first turn, you become very, not militant, but you realize you get really pissed off really easily, because you know what's really going on when you talk to people about it, and they're going, yeah, but bacon though, and you're just like, oh. For some reason it
Why
annoys
do we
you.
have beef? That's what.
Yeah, and all this sort of stuff. You get people making these like arguments, but they would always say, yeah, but what you're quoting there, that's what's in America or different countries, and it's different here in the UK. And Earthling Ned did the Land of Hope and Glory, which was the UK based one, and some of it was based right where I used to live, and I'm in Cornwall now, and some of it was based in Cornwall too. And I was just like proof, like there's more proof of it. And then I think there was another one I watched, and I was just like, went like that. And obviously then first one was Cowspiracy. I think Seaspiracy is the latest one, but I was like, right, you don't realize how much of an impact it has on the environment. So like now it's been like nearly 5 years, and it's second nature now. It doesn't bother me. The only thing that I miss every now and then is sweet treats. Like, I've got a really big sweet tooth,
That's
so
the
I miss
hardest thing, isn't it?
it's stuff like Galaxy chocolate, Ripples, Galaxy caramel, but it's getting way better with food that's out there. And it's becoming easier and easier to like fill those initial cravings that you would have had. Like, I tried these, I don't know if you've ever had them. I think it's Mr. or Mrs. Oggs. They've got a range of cakes, and they've got like, I love anything with caramel, and they've got like these caramel millionaire slices. And I was just like, I said the whole pack. I am fat like that. I'm really greedy. But that just is a fix for me. Where before, a few years ago, like trying to find something to eat out was a pain. I don't know if like, do you remember when you first went, like trying to find food to eat out was
it
was a pain. And like here in Cornwall anyway, it was like you would go to different places, and unless you went to a city, you would never find any vegan options. And even if you did, it would have to be a kind of out there kind of restaurant. Most places had like none, or like, well, if you want to eat, you could have a bunch of sides. You know, like,
chips.
Thanks, yeah, chips, and so, but then you'll find half the chips or the potatoes are like got butter or something on them anyway. But now it's, you go most places and it's never really an issue. But my partner, she's not vegan or anything. She's dabbled with it in and out, but she likes cheese too much apparently. But I mean, I don't know. Sorry?
Did she watch Cowspiracy?
She's watched it all.
She's seen how cheese is made.
Yeah, seen it all. I think it's like a lot of things. I think it's very, and I've talked about this with other people, is that unless it's something that's at the forefront that you're constantly seeing, it's very easy for people to forget or put barriers up so they don't see. And I think there was that quote, wasn't there? I don't know if it was Linda McCartney or Paul McCartney that said that everyone would be vegetarians if slaughterhouses had glass windows. Because I think it's very easy, even though people are eating meat or doing whatever, to not actually make the connection of what actually that's come from. And people will argue for pets, but they won't for other animals. But I don't know, do you make a lot of content promoting veganism or driving the vegan message home?
I actually try not to, for the reason I find it's, was it like Gandhi or Buddha who says like, just be the change you want to be. I think like, when I first went vegan, like you said, you come a bit militant. You want to tell people, I'm telling everyone, oh, you should watch all these documentaries and stuff. And you literally just scare people off. People are like, oh, get lost, whatever you preach. And that's probably how I would have been. And I think if you just live a healthy lifestyle and people are more intrigued, like, oh, what do you actually eat? How do you get your protein? Like, they seem obvious questions, but like people get interested and then you explain it. And I kind of like to just do it that way. Like my Instagram, I kind of just share my vegan food and stuff like that. But I'm definitely never push it. I wouldn't tell anyone. Usually people just kind of find out. Like, I think that just seems to be better for me. And I also don't like to identify, like, we like to create these groups, you know, like a vegan and non-vegan. Even with like the vaccine thing now, it's like non-vaccinated people and vaccinated, like we're all just people. Why does it matter what you do? Just like be your person. I don't feel like we need to be grouped into certain boxes.
I think that's the problem with without going into it, because obviously it would be a different topic, but
Yeah.
politics in general is identity politics at the minute, and everything is trying to put people into groups because it's easier to attack a group and sort of like that. But what was I going to say? What you said then. Carry on saying what you were saying. Sorry, I interrupted you. I did
I
have
think I
a
just
train of thought.
finished anyway. I was just saying, like, I don't like to put myself in a box or anyone in a box.
Yeah,
Like saying I'm vegan, like I once wasn't vegan, so like looking down on people who aren't vegan isn't right, really. Like someone who's not vegan is just could be vegan in the future. Like just be a good example, just be a person, and like don't be identified so much in a certain aspect. Like for instance, I've had tennis elbow like the past 4 weeks. I haven't really been able to work out at all. And I realized how identified I've been with like someone who works out. And I'm like, I really need to let go how much I need to work out. Because if I did get injured and I couldn't ever work out again, I think it would kill me. But like I need to like let that
it's
part
weird. It's weird
go.
that I know some people, like, if I don't work out, even if I go a couple days without working out, I feel lousy.
Mm,
And people that don't work out don't understand that. They're like, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to? It's like I feel lousy. I feel lazy. I actually sometimes feel depressed if I can't do a workout. I feel really low,
mm.
and for me it's like a natural antidepressant. Like I like to work out, and I feel, especially once you finish a workout, you feel awesome. Like, but I mean, I used to make vegan content. Like when I first started, I used to do it. And it would be like, reasons to go vegan and trying to show, like, it was never anything like you get with, I would say, people like Joey Carbstrong are too full on, and I think he's very easy for people just to think he's too full on. Earthly Ned, I think, has a better way of doing it, but still, it's a hard like niche to break into, because who you're able to reach is very, very slim, because most people that aren't interested in veganism aren't going to watch your stuff. People that are already vegan are unlikely to watch your stuff unless it's about food. So you've got a really, really small niche of people that are thinking about going vegan and need more information. But then you get people like Joey Carbstrong and all these other big channels that they take up all the views. And I kind of found that, I don't know if you find this, I know I definitely have. I predominantly wanted to make fitness content as a PT and help people. And that was that's how I started my channel. And then vegan stuff would add in. But I found that a lot of people, specifically men, as soon as they found out you were vegan, would switch off from any of your fitness advice. They were very like, men eat meat. Like, why would I listen to a vegan when it comes to fitness advice? It doesn't matter how solid your advice is, or if there's a really well laid out program, the information you're giving is, they will switch off just because I listen to a vegan. I did find that quite a lot, and I kind of found like a lot of people wouldn't listen to me if I had vegan content or made vegan content. It would sort of, for some reason, discredit the content I was making. And I found that since not doing vegan content, or I might do a few things on stuff that I eat, more people are more engaged and people enjoy the content more, which is sad that it has to come to that. Like, I don't feel like your fitness advice should boil down to that, but I don't know, some people are like that. It might be better now, but I don't know if you've ever had people like that or anything.
I don't know. I think vegan's definitely changing now, like over the 5 years. I think before, my perception of what vegan or like someone who eats a vegan diet is like a hippie, isn't it, who's like skinny and malnourished. But I think that myth's been blown out the water now. Like I follow Brian Turner, Simnett Nutrition, Nia, was it Nemo, and they're all like big vegan bodybuilders and
Yeah.
super happy. And I think that myth's kind of got busted. But yeah, a couple years ago, 100%. I think the same with calisthenics though. I think I used to tell, when I was doing calisthenics, I'd tell people that almost you can kind of see them think, yeah, that's not really training. But I'm like, yeah, calisthenics is training. It's the kind of, I think it's just people not informed will think that. But yeah,
I think Game Changers definitely helped with that perspective when that came out. So that was a big documentary, because it was just like, you can be fit, you can be strong. I think the protein myth definitely gets knocked out. Like, I still get people asking me about protein, and I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm struggling to lose weight, but I don't find it difficult to put on weight. Like, I'm about 14 stone now, and I don't eat a huge amount. I don't count how much protein I'm having. I just eat predominantly plant-based, and I just eat a lot of, because like I said, I don't eat a vegan diet. I eat a plant-based diet because I think a vegan diet can be unhealthy, and I don't eat a lot of fake meat. I eat tofu really, and I eat a lot of beans and stuff like that, but I don't struggle to it. So I think that sort of documentary was really good for making people think that you're not just going to suddenly go vegan and you're just going to waste away and look like some scrawny hippie. But I think it's like, because I've had a few people ask me what I eat and nutritional advice. And I did a video on supplementation and things like this. I think you're right when it comes to, instead of like making the direct sort of vegan content, lead by example, with the idea of, if you're performing well, if you're strong, if you're in good shape, people will naturally say, what are you eating? Like, how often do you eat? How many calories? Like, people always come up and ask, and will say that because they want to, build muscle or whatever. That is a great point for you to come in, because, well, I eat a vegan diet, or I eat a plant-based diet, and I eat this and I eat that. And they might go, oh, okay, didn't realize you could look like that, eating that sort of way. And I think that's a good way of changing people's minds on it, I think.
100%. Yeah, I do days of eating on my channel as well, but I don't do any reference to it being vegan. I just do like a day of eating, like the calories, but all the food is obviously vegan. So if people follow it along, I don't even know if they'd think about it.
No, I think I think, and like you said with the calisthenics as well, I think people think calisthenics and weight training are like just alien things. Like they're just separate entities that, like, they're just completely and utterly different. And if you do calisthenics, you do weights, how your body adapts is just completely and utterly, there's a different mechanism in process. And I think, like, people, and especially people that are like calisthenics only, but people that never explore with calisthenics, is they're both the same thing. They're both an exercise that will place stress on your body, that your body will look to adapt to by building muscle, getting stronger, more efficient, whatever it is. As long as you're progressive with it, and all these things, you will build muscle. So, like, people think you can't build muscle and you're only going to be thin and stringy by doing calisthenics. Completely and utterly wrong. You can build an awesome physique. I mean, there's loads of people out there that, I mean, like, I did that live stream with Matt from the Red Delta. I mean, he's in his 40s, and if someone's in his 40s, he's in awesome shape. He's in great shape. He's, like I said, he's in better shape than a lot of people half his age. His strength is there too, and he predominantly does just calisthenics, or he doesn't do a huge amount of weighted calisthenics, but it's just proof that you can do progressive calisthenics and still be really strong and build muscle and be in shape. He does like cardio and biking as well. So, like, you can build an awesome physique with calisthenics. What I might do, actually, I did have one question come through that I might talk about, and you can give your thoughts on it as well. It's from a guy called John Sinclair, and he's like, what are your thoughts on volume training versus strength and hypertrophy? I tend to train in the 10 to 12 rep range, but prefer the 3 to 6 range, but feel the need for better muscular endurance. What can I do to make it fun? So there's a couple of questions in there, I guess. So what are your thoughts on volume training versus strength and hypertrophy?
I think, me personally, it's best to incorporate like all reps of training. So I'll do strength, hypertrophy, and endurance pretty much. And I usually periodize my training in like a 4-week block. So it start off hypertrophy usually at the start of the block, and then I'll just slowly ramp up to the end couple of weeks where I'm doing predominantly strength based, but still have hypertrophy at the end, and then rinse and repeat. And that's kind of how I predominantly do my progressive overload. So I'd say do something similar to that, make it more undulating, so you're kind of building your way up as the like blocks progress. But it's crazy that he enjoys doing low reps too. I enjoy doing higher reps. I think low reps kill me.
I prefer low reps. I hate high reps.
Yeah,
I think just because I have like a sort of a background in strength training, and like I did a video on myofibrillar and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So, like, differences between, say, powerlifters and bodybuilders, and why one looks bigger than the other, and why one is vastly stronger than the other, and talking about how rep ranges make a difference in how your body adapts to the different stress and sort of where you go from there. So, like, I would normally, for me, like, I'm assuming he's thinking about like volume training, just the idea of just doing lots and lots of volume with the prospect of, I guess, growing bigger to like strength and hypertrophy. But I would say for me, like I prefer doing low rep because I can get stronger, but you build muscle with it too. So I guess one of the most proven ones is like 5x5.
Yeah.
Is low rep, but you build muscle. That's why a lot of like rugby players and sort of strength athletes will use 5x5 as like their cornerstone of their training, because you get strong, but you also build muscle because the volume's there. But I guess the only issue you have with like the low rep ranges is you're waiting around a lot more. I know you said you wait 2 or 3 minutes, but I know if you're doing like really heavy stuff, like when I used to do like 7 sets of free, I'd be waiting 5 minutes between sets. So I was waiting half an hour in workouts. So it's very boring. So I know with that, some people, they don't find it fun.
In between, couldn't you?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I kind of used to do, but obviously still.
And now it's obviously easier because you've got your phone, because then you can waste that time. But then sometimes you can waste too much time and you kind of lose focus in the gym. It's very easy to be on your phone and you lose that focus, which isn't very good. So if you're waiting that period of time, some people find that boring. But I think you can. I think what you said is very good. Some people might find it quite hard to have the undulating. I know some people go into daily undulating, like they might find that easier. Like Monday might be heavy, Wednesday lighter, Friday whatever. They might find that sort of program quite hard, but sometimes just doing it within a workout. So start off with like heavy strength and then go into lighter rep work. But I do think there's benefits to doing lower rep work and higher rep work for your body. But I think sometimes for your mind, isn't it? Like sometimes it can get a little bit boring and a bit taxing to do the same workout over and over again. Where if you think like, instead of doing like low rep weighted calisthenics, you're going to go, right, I'm just going to just jump up on the bar, just do loads of reps, pull-ups and lots of push-ups and dips. And I saw your challenge that you did. How were your elbows after that?
It's finally just about back to normal now, but it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. So
Because that'd be.
He was injured before I did that challenge, to be honest. I went
Why
in.
Why did you do it then?
Because me and the Jacked Vegan had been talking about it for about a month, and it was kind of all planned. And I was like, it's already hurt, so I may as well just do this challenge now. Like we'd kind of organized it for a few weeks back and forth and stuff. And I thought, I can't like sack it
bail now. Yeah.
So
nah. I mean, I think that's another form of like volume training. Is a lot of people, they do that. Just like they'll have a rep goal, won't they? Which I think sometimes quite good. I mean, it depends how you break up the volume, whether it would be considered strength or hypertrophy. But some people might have a goal where they'll be like, their workout is 100 pull-ups or 100 push-ups or 100 squats, and just get it done as little sets. Or you make it progressive by saying, I want to try and get it done, and then once I can do it, it's if I can start doing it in less sets. So you end up like increasing the overall set, so it makes it a little bit more intense. But I don't know if that answers your question, but that might do. I guess that's sort of our opinions on strength training, volume training, and things like that, and how to make it fun. But I think you summed it up well. You'll get a lot of benefit from doing all forms of rep ranges, and just obviously depending on what your goal is. Well. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you he says I prefer doing 3 to 6, but I feel I need to better muscular endurance. What can I do to make it fun? So you want to make having better endurance more fun. That's not easy. That's hard. I don't like doing endurance work. I don't like doing a lot of. I don't like getting the burn. I don't know about you. No, I don't. I do
enjoy it. Yeah.
I don't like getting the pump.
I do.
I don't.
We're very different. That's it. That's why I like doing those high rep challenges. Like the feeling afterwards, and I love just like pushing myself. It's like it's a very different feeling to doing like heavy low reps to doing like high endurance volume. Like they're both fun for me, but they're very different.
I mean, I've dabbled in them, and I know when like you have that feeling, you feel big, you feel swole, something. You think
so. You take like 20
take on the world, yeah. And yeah, but the only issue I have with that, and the only issue I kind of have with just in general like higher rep work, is you look good for half an hour and then suddenly you go back to normal. And you're like, oh, I look great. And then because people used to do that sort of training before a night out on a Friday or a Saturday, it'd be like international arm day, Friday or Saturday, depending on whether they're going out, and get a quick pump up. By the time that they're out, it's gone. But I like the feeling when you're lifting something and then I don't know, it's just that sort of strong animalistic kind of feel where you like, whether you're lifting like a heavy dip or a deadlift or a pull up, and it's taking everything of like all the strength, you're engaging everything. And then once you finish it and you stop because you literally have nothing left in the tank, that feels good. Where if you're doing like pump training, you can just rest 10 seconds and go again. But if you've given it your all, like you've given it your all, and then you lift something heavy and suddenly you're standing tall, you feel, I don't, it's a different feeling. I'm more addicted and enjoy lower rep work. Maybe I like the resting more. I don't know, just sit in there. Because I know with the other stuff, I've done it where it'd be like, I did this one workout where it was like sets of like 12, and it was like 30 seconds rest in between each one, and it was 4 sets of it, and I would normally feel sick. That would be the thing, and I'd get such a bad pump that it was like sets of 12 on pull-ups, but it was like supersetted with sets of 12 ring dips, and it was like you do your 12, 30 seconds rest, and you've got to go and gain, and then you got to do 4 sets out of only 30 seconds rest. Like I'd just balloon up, and then I would end up like overheating and getting too hot. It was good, it worked, it got me, it was a good workout, but I wouldn't want to make. Yeah, you've dabbled with a bit of CrossFit. You like CrossFit?
Yeah, I love it. I really want to next year maybe. I want to just focus on getting strong and building up this year. But then yeah, I do enjoy CrossFit, though I've only done a few handful of classes when I've gone on holiday. There's not been a gym, there's been like a CrossFit box, and I've gone and done it. But I feel like you need to learn all the moves, because they put all these moves up, and I can't do half of them. So
yeah, that's the thing that puts me off
now, just for fun, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I like the CrossFit workouts based on body weight, cardio, kettlebells, but I don't like the Olympic lifting ones. Like I like technical. Very, very technical, and I don't know, the I think it's a snatch. Always, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the most mobile person. I think just the years of doing like heavy weight training and probably not doing enough mobility and flexibility, I wouldn't have the flexibility and mobility to do a snatch. But I've seen too many fail videos where they're popping it above their head and it drops, smashes on their face, and then or they fall backwards or weight. I mean, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to throw a weight above my head like that. I don't mind doing it with a kettlebell, because a kettlebell is easier to drop, but I wouldn't do it with it. So that puts me off. They've got a few other ones that I'm like, oh, I'm not keen on. All the other exercises I think are awesome. I like them. They're CrossFit's got that nice combination where like you can work out where you feel like you're challenging your strength, but you feel athletic while doing it. So like I said, I've got like an air bike. I don't know if you ever used an air bike.
Yeah, like once, and it killed me.
Brutal. I mean, one of the best cardio equipment. If you're limited on space and you want something that's I'll just do stuff like I'll do like 10 calories or a minute on that with like kettlebell swings and pull-ups or burpees, and I'll make it into sort of like a CrossFit style routine, and for getting your cardio in and making it fun. And I guess that's a way in which you could do a little bit of your endurance work on, is make it into a circuit so it feels a little bit more fun, and it doesn't feel like you're just doing lots and lots of reps. It's just like you're mixing between things, which I always think is like a fun way to train. So I'm a big fan of CrossFit and that sort of style. I don't know if you ever watch any of the games or anything, but some of them
I love watching it, even though I've never really done it. It's
unbelievable.
Like competitive eating thing. I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but yeah, I love watching CrossFit.
Yeah, I think they're like, I mean, I know some people say, oh, they're not really the fittest in the world, but I think if you can see what they can do, like they're literally like the jack of all trades, master of nearly all.
Is it like a marathon row straight away at the start?
Unbelievable.
Of the last one? Like,
yeah, and it's just the amount they do over a weekend, and it's just a variety. It's just like you can be really, really good at like calisthenics, and then have that gymnastic side of you where like the body weight, the hands up, everything. And then there's things like, right, now we want you to do some Olympic lifts, or now we want you to do a max deadlift. Okay, now we want you to run a fast 1.5 miles, then do a rope climb, and then pull a sled. I just think that's what I like about it. It's that functionality. I don't know if that's a part of your training or stuff that you like to do is functional training, or is it you just want to build muscle for building muscle, or you like the functionality aspect to it?
Yeah, I think I do mind functionally now. As I say, I do the compound calisthenics movements at the start, and I'm very more conscious. I think you're always learning, aren't you, with fitness? And I feel like even now I'm reintroduced weights after like 2.5 years, I'm just so mindful of all the movements. The weights are so much lower, and I'm just really like, when I bench, I'm just squeezing the muscle, whereas before I think I just move my arms a bit. So yeah, everything I think is intentional. Why I'm doing every single movement, why am I doing it? For this reason. I'm trying to just work on weaknesses and areas.
So what made you become a PT? Was it because you loved fitness and wanted to then make a job of it, or is it you thought about doing a PT and then that's what got you into fitness, sort of thing? Like,
I think I've always been into fitness, to be honest. Yeah, I think I just wanted to do a job that I enjoy and share my passion. Yeah, I just love doing anything active. it just kind of transformed. As I say, I used to do lots of biking and snowboarding for like the whole of my 20s, and then I kind of got over drinking when I turned like 30, and then since
Yeah.
then I've been on the healthy lifestyle.
You drink much at all anymore?
Literally, probably like if it's a mate's birthday or something, I'll have like one beer. But
Yeah.
yeah, not I didn't even quit drinking. It just like one day I woke up with like the worst hangover. I think it was like New Year's Eve when I was like 30. Honestly, couldn't move out of bed, and that put me off drinking. And then yeah, every now and again I'll have like 2 or 3 beers, and even having like 3 beers makes me like feel rubbish in the morning. It's like it's
Yeah,
just not
yeah, yeah.
worth it for me anymore.
It's one of those ones that, like, when you're younger, you're like, "Oh, I'm never drinking again," and the next weekend comes, you do it again.
Yeah.
And I think, as you get older as well, it definitely becomes harder to recover from a hangover. I definitely find that. And I think for me, it was like I just got hungover really bad, and I was like, "I'm never doing this again." And then I think just associated that feeling with drinking, and now I just don't drink. Like,
Yeah.
I tried a while back because my friends came down, and I was like, I had a few beers. I didn't feel tipsy or drunk, but the next day it just made me feel really off. Like, I just didn't feel. I think once you really focus on health and like your eating's right, you're working out, you're doing all the good things, and you feel as best as you possibly can. As soon as something upsets the sort of like the apple cart and anything, you feel a lot worse than what you used to. I think it highlights how unhealthy you were when you realize that when now you are
100%.
healthy, you do something that you used to, you think, oh God, how did I used to live like that? Because I'd like, my stomach will feel awful, my sleep will be bad, I'll just feel lethargic. I'm like, I only had like 3 or 4 ciders and I feel like awful. But yeah, but so was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
We
Anything else on
touch on
fitness?
barefoot shoes because
Yes, yes,
you've
yeah.
been wearing them a lot longer than I, so be
Yeah, I
interested
mean,
to know.
what are your thoughts on barefoot shoes, minimalist shoes? What got you into wearing them?
My story is quite interesting. I got stuck in Bali for 7 months. So I was living in Canada, and then last year I flew to Bali to like have a little holiday before coming home to the UK, and we got stuck there during COVID. So I
What's
ended up
Bali like?
yeah,
What's it
uh,
like there, Bali?
amazing.
It looks beautiful in some of the pictures that I've
I
seen.
really want to go back again now. It's
Yeah,
just killing me.
yeah,
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places in the world. And during COVID as well, it's like it wasn't even happening. Like didn't
oh,
even
fair.
mention it. But yeah, I didn't wear shoes the whole time because it's Bali. So I was wearing flip flops and not really wearing flip flops because I was just going to the gym and the beach. So just in shoes. And then I put my shoes on. I had like Nano sixes, like CrossFit shoes,
Yeah, yeah.
to go to the airport, and they're like so tight. And I was like, what the hell? Like
Mm.
maybe my shoes have shrank somehow. Like I didn't really think it, but I couldn't even wear my shoes. Like I was wearing them just for when I had to, and then I'd take them off all the way till I got home. And then I realized my feet had got so wide from not wearing shoes that I literally couldn't wear shoes anymore. And then I met up with a friend and he had Vivo barefoot shoes on. He was saying, "Oh, these are
Yeah,
barefoot
yeah.
shoes." I tried them on. I was like, "Oh wow." Ordered some, and I literally haven't looked back. I've got like 5 pairs of barefoot shoes now. I can't wear regular shoes because my feet got like I guess flattened to their natural how they're supposed to be. But like they used to be in like squashed in shoes, and I
Yeah.
was used to that. And then yeah, they flattened back out now, and yeah, they feel amazing.
I definitely found that when I tried to put on a pair of Converses, and I think they're notoriously thin anyway. But I was like, I put them in, I was like, nah, these feel horrible. I mean, I made the transition. I don't even know how I came across it. Born to Run. I think I found it on YouTube. And it was basically this guy talking about how you had these people in South America that would run like hundreds of kilometers over a weekend. They'd do it for fun. And they talked about how they were able to do it because of their they ran in a more natural manner. And they started talking about how we would normally run with a smaller stride. And they talked about how people were getting injuries, and they developed trainers basically thinking that it would solve the problem, but it then changed the way that people would run. And a lot of the time now, the transition to using normal trainers is what's causing a lot of people's injuries. And I was like, all right, I was looking at it, I thought that's really interesting. And then I was like looking up like, okay, how does it work? Why is barefoot something? I thought it's obviously it makes sense. Footwear and you running in your barefoot, obviously that's going to be the most ideal thing. That's the most natural way of running. And I thought, all right, I'll try it. Just jump on the next fad that I think a lot of people do. And I thought, all right, I got myself a pair of toe shoes, really ugly. That's the problem with barefoot shoes. Most of
That's
them are
what put
really
me off ever
ugly.
getting some before.
They're horrible. But I bought a pair of them, and I thought, all right, you know what? I won't wear them out. I'll trial them out and just wear them just in the gym. And I can hands down say the best footwear to ever deadlift in is a pair of toe shoes, Vibram 5-finger toe shoes. The best shoes. I mean, barefoot is great, but depending on what surface you're on, your feet may slip. They were incredible. Running in them on a treadmill felt amazing, but there was quite a big transitional phase of being able to run. Like my feet didn't feel like they took a pounding quite quickly in them. I don't think you realize how much you rely on like a thick sole. And I don't know, it's a couple of years now, and now it's like it's the only shoes I wear. I bought a pair of Doc Martens because they came out of a vegan Doc Marten, and my partner was like, "Oh, I should wear them." I thought, "Oh yeah, I'll give them a go," but I hardly ever wear them now. It's like I've got a pair of Vivo Barefoots. I've got, I don't know if you ever heard of Field Grounds.
Yeah, I've seen them. I haven't had any, but
I bought a pair of theirs when they first started on Kickstarter, and I was like, "Oh, finally a barefoot shoe that doesn't look like shit," because most of them just look like they've just like strapped a load of different materials together, and you just think they look ugly. This is why no one wears them. And this was just like a standard basic shoe. Bought them, I thought, wow, like I wore them in the gym, I ran in them, I squatted in them, I did pistol squats, like my feet felt amazing. Like just having that wider toe box, the ability to be able to like grip with your toes, and running on like a curved treadmill specifically, it felt awesome. And like I said, I got the Viber Barefoot. I've got another pair of Field Grounds now, and then I bought a pair of Zero shoes because Al Cavadlo, he put a post up on Instagram saying like how he loves Van shoes, and finally these people that do barefoot shoes have brought out one that looks nice. And it looks just like a pair of like a pair of Vans. I thought they look pretty cool. Bought them, awesome. I won't wear a normal shoe now. I've tried wearing normal shoes, and like you said, they just feel like everything's just crammed in. It just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel good. And like I think that they've talked about how like you've got more nerves in your feet, and you're that sort of perception of where you are in space, like the nerves in your feet and the sensors in it like that's what they use to be able to judge balance, stability, all these different things. And if you're numbing that by having a massive thick sole on there, I think it makes sense. But I just think people are put off by them because they look ugly. But I think it's a sort of shoe that I think a lot of people would benefit from. And I talked to a friend who's really into running. He's a hell of a good runner. And I said to him, like, you'll be surprised, like, if you really want to get good at running, switching to a barefoot shoe, your running will get better because the way that you run will change. Your knee pain will probably go, and your speed will go up because by naturally, your cadence naturally goes up when you run in barefoot. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I don't run that much. I only run.
Do you not run that much?
5 to 10K, like just for fun, a couple times a week.
So when I was into running, I don't do it so much now, but you'll find your cadence changes because your stride just completely drops down because you're now landing more midfoot to toe as opposed to like heel striking all the time. So your stride normally like shortens, and then you start like running a little bit more on your messages are now coming through on Instagram. And you start running with like your feet are hitting the floor a little bit more. So a lot of time that speeds up how fast you can run. Knee pain goes away. You run a little bit more naturally. Like huge fan of them, especially for squats. Anything to do with pistol squats, they just feel so much better doing them. I mean, you've got a few pairs, you said.
Yeah, I love them. I honestly think everyone should wear barefoot shoes, but I don't want to be too preachy about it. But like for me, it just makes sense now. It's like when I went vegan, it's just like a light bulb's gone off. I'm like, how are people wearing cushion shoes? It seems mad, but
it's fashion. I mean, I know a lot of it is down to fashion as well, and
nice
they are quite expensive though as well. I find
the
barefoot shoes are quite expensive, but I mean, I made the cardinal sin once because I was like, I need to break it. I need to get my feet used to it. I need to get them used to having no balance. I mean, no cushion, and I wore a pair of those toe shoes with a pair of jeans, and it was an awful look. My partner was just laughing at me. I remember being on the escalator and there was some girls behind me looking at my shoes laughing, and obviously that made my partner and her brother laugh at me because he goes, look, everyone's laughing at your stupid shoes. I was like, I don't care, I'm breaking in these shoes. And, you know, I'm there like bouncing around like I was flip-flopping around that shop like nothing because you feel, I don't know, you feel like
such good things about those, the Vibrams.
They are really, I mean, they are really good. Like I said, working out, they're phenomenal. Like because they're so light. and they're so grippy. And because, unlike some other shoes, because you have the toe separation, it really sort of brings home. You can really feel what you're doing with your toes. And it sounds like small, but when it comes to doing things, you feel better. But because they're so light, like I said, you feel really athletic, jumping, moving, running. They feel really good. The problem is they're so expensive. You would look at them and think, 100 quid's expensive for a pair of shoes, especially ones that are really ugly.
Like
And
marigolds.
yeah, they're ugly, and you're going to wear them in the gym, and that's it. But then again, a lot of people will spend 100 quid on a pair of Nikes just to walk around town with. But again, it's fashion, isn't it? I mean, but like I said, I definitely recommend, like, if you've got the money and you see a pair that you like, get a pair of toe shoes. I mean, I got a pair of the normal ones. I don't know what their name is now, but they probably don't sell anymore. And I got a pair of V Trails, I think they're called. So they're meant for going trail running. So if you go running in the outdoors and that, they've got like a slightly thicker sole. I think it's still like a few mil thick, but they've got like thick, grippy tread on there, so you can run up through mud. And running through mud of them is a nice feeling, because you feel all the mud come up through your toes, and you feel it all, and it feels awesome. I definitely recommend them to people.
I'm gonna have to get some. I'm too proud to get some, but I know I'll enjoy them so much.
Oh god, they're fun. And like I said, sometimes it's quite funny, like being in a gym or being out, and people look at them and they're just like, what a freak. And it's just like, it's just a pair of shoes. And I was like, sometimes I think, oh, like they're cool, give them a go, they're quite fun. But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to chat about or close with, or sort of?
I guess we covered everything pretty much.
Yeah, I think we've done a pretty good amount. I mean, so hopefully for anyone that's been watching, there's been some good information on those things. And obviously that question that got asked, so hopefully that we answered that well enough for you. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you head over to Pete's channel, show your support, help him grow his channel. And you can go over there, and you like the video, subscribe, like, comments, and all those great stuff, and sort of help spread the word. I guess that's what we're trying to do here, is collab to the point where we can share opinions, share advice, and hopefully help whoever's watching live a healthier, happier life. I think
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, so well,
thank
guys,
you for having me on, Lee.
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, if people enjoyed it and want to hear more from us, something we can maybe do again, possibly. Just yeah, as I said, thanks for taking on the invite. And like I said, it's been good talking to you. It's been good, especially because, like I said, we've done a lot of content that's very similar. I think in some cases we have a lot of opinions on that, so it's nice to talk about fitness and other things like that.